Hello, I shall continue with the Gospel of John, chapter 7, verse 19. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet not one of you keeps the law. Why are you trying to kill me? And if you remember, I was talking about how to support false teachers, people who are not glorifying God, but they're glorifying themselves. They are twisting the scriptures to suit their own agenda. So that's what Jesus is talking about. That was it not Moses who gave you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. And it becomes obvious if you think about it that those who keep the law of Moses, they do not kill. They do not try to kill someone. And I understand there's a difference between capital punishment and killing someone. But capital punishment had to have a reason. And as I have been explaining, Jesus claimed to be equal with God, which was considered to be blasphemy. But at the same time, he backed it up with performing miracles, with doing things only God would have been able to do. The law is testified about him. They prophesied about him. John the Baptist testified about him. Yet they wanted to kill him. And verse 20 continues, "You are demon-possessed," the crowd answered. "Who is trying to kill you?" And Jesus said to them, "I did one miracle, and you are all amazed." And Jesus is talking about in chapter 5, when he healed the paralytic during Sabbath at the pool of Bethesda, and since that moment they wanted to kill him. And in verse 22 he says, "Yet because Moses gave you circumcision, though actually it did not come from Moses but from the patriarchs, you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. Now if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath, so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a man whose body, healing a man's whole body on the Sabbath?" So you see this double standard. I tell you why circumcising someone on the Sabbath is important. First of all, it was a sign of keeping the covenant with the Lord, but it also meant keeping, or more like trying to hold on to the sanctity of life, preserving the sanctity of life. And also it was a sign of the covenant made with the Lord, which was the sign of eternity. And the child had to be circumcised on the 8th day. And there's an interesting fact. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics Task Force, it is of medical importance that a male circumcision be carried out on the 8th day after birth, since the level of vitamin K is the highest on this day, and vitamin K plays a pivotal role in regulating and in the regulation and control of the important clotting factors in the coagulation pathway that helps in stopping bleeding. Almost as if someone who prescribed it knew what they were doing. So God gave the command to Moses to circumcise the child on the 8th day, which was the safest thing to do. And what Jesus is arguing that, fine, you circumcise someone on the 8th day, but when I'm doing something and healing if it's 8th day, even if it's a Sabbath, but when I'm circumcising someone, when I'm healing someone and restoring a whole body and saving someone's life, it's not lawful for you. And from that moment they try to kill him. And he says in verse 24, "Stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly." And if you recall, if you ever read Matthew, in one of the chapters he's talking, he says that do not judge, for you too will be judged. He's talking about judgment. And there's a very famous thing that even non-believers use, where it says that, you see the speck of sawdust someone else's eyes, but you fail to see the plank in your own eye. And Jesus said, you're a hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eyes, then you can see clearly to say to your brother, take the speck of sawdust from your eye, so let me remove the speck of sawdust from your eye. And what Jesus is saying, it's not about, as many have misinterpreted it, and I've heard non-believers charging Christians saying that you're not supposed to judge. It's in the Bible. Jesus never said that you're not supposed to judge. Jesus was talking about you're not supposed to judge hypocritically. You're not supposed to be a hypocrite, because if you are not aware, how can you judge someone if you are guilty of the same thing, if you're not better than the other? And Jesus was talking about do not condemn anyone. You can judge, you can analyze a situation, you can make a judgment, if you will, but do not condemn anyone, because you're not aware of the circumstances, one. And the other thing is, you're not better than the other, chances are, in whatever. I mean, yeah, there are situations where, somebody's committed a crime or somebody sinned, did a horrible sin, and yeah, fair enough, you're not guilty of that sin, and there are guidance as to how to deal with that situation. But what Jesus is talking about, judge correctly. Look into the situation, be aware of the circumstances, then you will be able to make a righteous judgment. Don't just throw about judgment to say you're guilty of this and that because of this and that, and because I know better and I'm better than you know. He says no, be very careful when you're judging others, because you might end up pronouncing judgment on yourself as well, because Jesus says the way you judge you will be judged. Amen.